started with the startup, but we paid in that. It was like week last week we started with the fruit selling startup itself. Now I'm working on another startup. It's a lifestyle brand that is the website is open but
yeah, Sanjeev. Yeah.
I'm Sanjeev Gupta. A chartered accountant by profession. Have been working in various capacities as a finance professional and then in IT industry. Just quit my job to pursue some startup options and mainly in healthcare industry.
Okay, my name is Puneet Jain, and I've been working in IT industry till about 2 years ago. But I started off as a management consultant. For about 7 or 8 years, I've been working on this, and the company that I have an interest in is called Genmetrics Investments. I'm into equity research and portfolios.
Great.
I have a website called genmetrics.com, and now it's a one-man operation, and I want to scale it up.
Great. Thank you. Next.
I'm Aditya Damian. I worked in a multinational till about 2 years ago as software engineer. Then I quit and entered the startup. I'm building big data real-time stream processing solutions. System.
My name is Prasanna. I'm working in IT industry. I want to know about the startups.
Good morning, all. My name is Subraprakash. I have 9 years of experience and currently I have founded my own startup 2 months ago. So my objective is to build next generation telecom products with a cost-effective way. I've already started it. It is in the process of registration. That is my primary goal and provide the training and services. This is the two parts I am looking into. So I want to explore more about this and I want to learn the process. So I joined here and looking for a startup facility.
Thanks.
My name is Ankur Khandelwal. I am pursuing third year with pharmacy and I want to know how to start up business.
Okay.
Hi, good morning. My name is Guru Prasad. I run a company called Best Serve Pest Management. We are into facility management services. Mainly, we provide pest management to corporate clients. And I run business for the last 5 years. And I'm here to boost my business to the next level.
Sure.
To connect with more people.
Thank you.
Good morning, friends. My name is Satya Prakash. In addition to my being an IT professional, I also run a HR startup. We just started off about 3-4 months back. So I'd like to learn more about the startups. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Shreyas Tiwari. I'm currently working in DHL, but I resigned 3 weeks back. And I'm starting on my healthcare startup that's mostly in diet management. Thanks.
So, sir, we have some friends who just walked in. So, can you introduce yourselves, please?
Yeah. So, I'm Ashutosh Agarwal. Over 13 years of software industry experience, and due to the downturn, I lost my job. So, since then, I have been working on an online community concept, which is kind of a mixture of Facebook, LinkedIn, and stuff like that. So right now it's me and my wife who are working on that particular software. So hopefully something will happen. So it's called TeenLife.in.
Okay, great. Anyone else? So just talk in.
Hi, good morning. My name
is here. Oh yeah.
My name is Damodar. I'm into power tools sales and service. So I am getting into new business, e-commerce. So I thought of coming.
Great. Just before you take your seat, you should introduce yourself and then sit down.
So my name is Amol. I'm working at Router Networks, the startup.
Great. Thanks. So, so thank you all again. It was a great introduction, and I think it also augurs for some good networking here. We have 2 healthcare startups and some telecom and a whole heap of technology. So we'll just run a video on what SLP is in a very superficial, peripheral way, and then I'll just make a small presentation to tell you in more detail what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Great, thanks.
Engineer and the co-founder of a startup called Mercia Software.
So just going to refresh what's in the video really that we ran just now. So startup leadership, you know what it is. It's a community-driven startup leadership program where the focus is on the individual rather than the company to run. So the idea here is to actually nurture individuals to lead better companies and to develop and establish successful companies. So the focus is on you rather than on what you do behind you. So what we do, we groom the next generation of startup CEOs in technology and every other sector. Really. So we startup leadership program is not specific to any sector. We operate across the sectors, and you see that today is a diverse group. In 2013-14 batch, we had a diverse group of sectors. We had healthcare, we had technology, we had people specifically in technology, and we had e-commerce and a whole heap of clean tech and others. Just to give you some data points on just to see how effective or how this could actually benefit you as an individual. 1,300 fellows, 1,000 startups, 450 million raised by companies founded. Our fellows have filed about 500 patents, and the focus is on women entrepreneurship as well. We have a small women entrepreneurship cell, and we actually drive women entrepreneurship. So that's about 250 plus women, 100 HD, PhD. Don't want to go into that. But last year we saw our highest number of fellows graduated, 1,800. And you can see that since we started in 2006, we've actually grown steadily, and this program has actually caught the attention of most entrepreneurs across the world. So,
question.
Yeah.
Who is a fellow?
So somebody who goes through the program and graduates. So it's a fellowship program, like how you have a fellow of the Royal College, right? So it's the same type of program. So it's yeah. So I'm a fellow of the last year. So are Dheeraj and so on. So I don't want to go into the details of this, but these are some of the global exits that SLP has seen. So we'll actually we can show this. We can share this presentation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we'll actually share this presentation with you. You can see who are our past fellows and what I've done and all that. Let's just go back to the page. Yeah. So again, talking about diversity, we have about 250 plus women. The thing about SLP is each and every city, designated city, has its own chapter, and we are the Bangalore chapter. So we have 21 cities, that's 21 chapters across 11 countries. We have no sector bias, like what I said. Education is our only criteria is you've got to be an entrepreneur and nothing, no educational criteria. And then wherever your startup is, so you're still ideating or you have an established startup, you're in scale growth, whatever it may be, we accept applications in irrespective of what stage your startup is. And then there is no age limit, so we've had anywhere between 19-year-olds to 54-year-olds done our fellowship program. So it's the focus is on the entrepreneur. I've already said this, so you can read this later. So the best part about SLP is the peer-to-peer learning, and that's I think the most powerful way for all of us to learn from our experiences, our failures, our challenges, and our successes. And that's the way SLP is structured. The peer-to-peer network and the peer-to-peer learning that happens within this setting is the most powerful form of learning. And you see that even the program leaders of this year are actually fellows of previous SLP batches. So it's more like a community-driven initiative. So the fellows of this year will be peers of next and so on and so forth. And obviously we have mentors. We have mentors for our Bangalore chapters. It's really the who's who of the VC world, successful entrepreneurs and very good startups who have grown, like Common Floors, and others. Next. Curriculum, I don't want to go too much into it, but I'll just give you a snapshot of what really it is. So strategy and competitive, positioning session, product development, customer revenues, financial modeling, VC term sheets, how to raise money, how to manage your money. So it's really the basics of entrepreneurship and really the sharp end of entrepreneurship that SLP gives you as form of our structured curriculum, apart from the peer-to-peer learning and the experiences sharing that happens in a classroom setting. And so again, it's one global program. You're part of the global network. The moment you're an SLP fellow in any of these cities across the world, you have access to the global network of entrepreneurs. It's a great network of entrepreneurs. It's a global network of entrepreneurs, so you can reach out to somebody anywhere else, like maybe LA or even the Bay Area and others. So, like I said, it's 21 cities and 11 countries, so there's a huge network one can tap into. So again, these are data points, and I really don't want to go into this in too much detail, but just going back to the same point I made, that it doesn't matter what stage a startup is. The focus is on you, and we want to groom you to be great entrepreneurs and leaders in entrepreneurship. So fundraising, we have access to the world's top accelerators, investors classes. So a lot of our fellows of last year and before last year actually made it to Microsoft accelerators. Many of them are in Chiron. A lot of them got selected to Startup Chile. So if anybody is looking to take that route, then you actually get geared up to get into accelerators and incubators such as these. And these are global programs, and people across the globe apply to Startup Chile and others, and it's only a handful who get through. And there's a strange relationship between SLP fellows and Startup Chile that a lot of our SLP fellows get into Startup Chile. That's a lovely thing. So again, the brainchild of Anupendra Sharma, guy sitting in Boston, and then Mahesh Vadgaonkar.
We'll have a question and answer
Yeah.
session at the end of this.
Yeah, we can have. You want to just have one or two straight away? You can, or if you want any other information, we're always here. I'll just make a small note about applications. Applications are open for this year's batch, 2014-15 fellowship program. You have to visit F6 S, and then you have the link.
The URL is startupleadership.com/admission apply. So startupleadership.com/apply is the link that you're looking for. Right there.
Just where?
So how many here have applied for the startup leadership program already? So 2 people. All right. Do you guys have any questions before we go on to the next thing?
So when
How many hours is still come?
One question at a time, please.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I did not receive any call till now.
So we are still evaluating.
No, we're evaluating the application.
So you'll come to know the final set of fellows in August midweek, mid-month. Right.
What I'm meaning is selection is a second step. First thing, everybody will get a call or
No. So
screening level also.
So first, there's a first very basic set of filtering process. After which we'll give a face-to-face interview. Then we'll have a full-on interview where the entire panel of our program leadership team evaluates you. So it's basically a 3-step process. So the first is based on your application that you have submitted right now.
So
You will hear from us. Don't worry about it. We'll make sure you'll get back. We'll get back to you. So just give us some time because we have a process to do this. Once we've evaluated the applications, you'll definitely hear from us. Nobody will go without hearing.
Even if it is rejected, you'll be sending them on.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. You will hear.
That was his question. Whether he may want to know or not.
Yes, you will.
So what I want to know is the basic filtering level also somebody may reject or everybody will get a face-to-face.
Shortlisting.
We'll be shortlisting at the first level of your application itself. So your application has some percentage weightage. So we evaluate that also.
There are criteria that you're going to fit, and then we see for that, and look at a whole heap of other parameters as well, and then.
What is the fee structure?
So 12,000 in Bangalore, in India, basically. So it's a very nominal amount even outside the country. And the reason I'm mentioning the price around across the globe is because you get to transfer very easily. Say you're visiting abroad, in between your fellowship, you can visit the session in that particular chapter, in the local cities chapter.
In that regard, is the program like customized for the country we are in, or is
Yes,
it kind of
it is customized even for the city that you're in. So the program that runs in Bangalore is not the same program that runs in Bombay or Delhi. It is very similar in some sense that we have an international guideline for the program, but we do customize it for the current fellows because ultimately those are the people who are benefiting and putting their efforts in.
Just to add a little, each and every city or chapter has its own little flavor. Like we look at Bangalore, we focus a lot on technology and healthcare, and a few other things. But Bombay, they have different mix of people. So it really depends on the mix. But each and every chapter has its own flavor.
The customization I meant was also like from the there are certain nuances about legalities and all those.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is definitely taken care of. You had a question.
Yeah. So
The training hours, how many hours?
80 hours. Sorry, 80 hours.
So we have 12 sessions every alternate Saturday from September up till March. And we'll have a few additional sessions depending on the fellows who are interested, which will be completely optional.
Is there any workload outside these 80 hours?
Yes, there will be a little bit, not a whole heap of workload, but yes, you have to kind of prepare for the classes. You'll have presentations to make, you'll have business models to build. So all of that is outside of those classes.
And given that this is hands-on, you'll be working with your peers to make your existing business go better. For example, if you have a legal issue, so you'll be working with our knowledge partners, Fox Mandal, you'll be working with our fellows, and you'll be figuring out how you can best resolve the situation. So even though you don't consider this as part of the class work, there'll be work beyond the class.
Okay. and it can be highly related to your business idea.
It is always related.
It is always related to your business idea. There's nothing beyond that.
It's your business. So if you say there's an exercise to build a financial model, it's building a financial model for your own business.
Right.
You can actually use it later on. So it's all useful stuff.
We do theory, but only to the extent that it's required for your business.
Right.
Do you have? Yeah.
It's total 80 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stretched over 6 months.
Just over 6 months.
Yeah.
Do you need to have a startup to actually enroll in?
In Bangalore, you need to be a full-time entrepreneur to be part of the SLP program.
And that's purely dictated by the level of competition that's around.
Yeah. So
Bangalore sees the highest number of applications for any SLP chapter across the globe. In fact, even this year we are top of the list on the number of applications.
Out of the 21 chapters we have, Bangalore tops the list. So given that the competition is pretty steep in Bangalore, you would have to be a full-time entrepreneur to even be part of the fellowship. So that's the first stage filtering, just to be clear.
And how many seats are you looking out for?
We are looking at something around 30 finalists.
Maximum of 30.
Maximum of 30.
25 to 30 is.
Yeah.
So when you say full-time entrepreneur, what do you mean? Do you mean he needs to have a registered company?
No registration, nothing required. You need to be working on your idea full-time. So you define
Not as an
full-time.
employee in some other company.
So it's not like you're working somewhere part-time, this is your morning job, then again you do your company, stuff like that. That is not acceptable to us.
So just because you mentioned that you're working on your own idea along with your peers, how do you kind of protect the IP of your idea?
Here?
Here. Yeah.
So here, I mean, it is a unwritten rule that it's a very trusted environment. So we share our financial statements and any IP related stuff. So if you're, we'd suggest that if it is very related to your IP and you don't need to share it, please don't share it, because if you're paranoid, please don't share it. But this is a very trusted environment. Things discussed here will stay within these four walls.
Just to add on that, Sanjeev, I think people have gotten great value by sharing what they have very graciously and and I think that's where the greatest value of the peer-to-peer learning comes. And everybody is so stuck in their own ideas. Really, I don't care about looking at or stealing from anyone else. So it's a very closed group environment, and you can be rest assured about that.
So in Bangalore, has this been going on for many years?
It's been going on for 5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
It's the sixth batch.
Sixth batch.
Any funds raised in Bangalore?
Funds raised. So a lot of people actually graduate from SLP and move on to accelerators. And in accelerators, they raise money. They also raised money here. Not saying they haven't, but
No, Enos did it.
Enos did it. Yes, correct.
Yeah. So
Enos did it. They raised it in SLP.
Yeah. So just to give you an
INNOZ.
Just to give you an example of what they're talking about, last batch SLP, there's a person called Sri Priya who went to the Target Accelerator and raised money there. And there was a person called Ziren who went to Startup Chile and then raised money there.
There's Sharat Acharya who went to Microsoft and raised money. So
Parth again, Microsoft Accelerator. All these people, this is like a feeder for all these accelerators. You're a prime, to be part of an accelerator or go to the VC round.
So you've already built your credibility by being an SLP fellow, and then you're in an accelerator, and then you're set to raise.
Another thing which, sorry for
Please, sir, go ahead. Yeah.
Another thing which helps when you do the SLP, you really sometimes you don't look at 360 degree of a lot of things because you are busy with the entrepreneurial idea. So while you're doing the SLP, you get the flavor. What are the other things you need to really look at? That helps you to go to the next level.
Absolutely.
Just to give you a brief introduction, ladies and gentlemen, this is Shiva Mandal. He's a partner at Fox Mandal. They sponsor the venue and they're the knowledge partners. They deal with all legal services across the spectrum.
So basically, just to give you a little background, we felt we basically, Foxconn is a very old firm. It's about 125 years old firm. And we felt that in India, there are a lot of young entrepreneurs and they need to support it. So
That was the reason we decided to support SLP in about 5 cities all over the country. We have about 10 offices all over the country, so in most of these offices we run this sort of program. And as the entrepreneurs, what are the things you really neglect? You neglect HR, you neglect accounts, and you neglect legal. These are three things. And that's where we really come in and try to guide you. We charge a very nominal fee in case you want it, and that's one. And secondly, I personally do a lot of mentoring for young entrepreneurs on the SLP. If they need it, guide them, and then they need not come to us for the legal help. They can go to outsiders, but at least they get a good guidance.
Yeah. So, any other questions? We can take it offline. We are here throughout the program. So we'll move on to. I think we need to show them the NASCOM video.
Yeah, I'll be doing that.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Dr. Chinmay. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. So now we'll be talking about NASCOM 10,000 startups. So how many of you here have attended a startup conference? Show of hands. Show of hands. Startup event, startup conference. NASCOM Product Conclave is one of the biggest startup conferences in India. And they have another initiative called 10,000 Startups, which has a noble aim of creating 10,000 startups in the next 9 years. So they started last year, they wanted to create in 10 years. So in the next 9 years, they want to create 10,000 startups. And they have partnered with SLP, and the whole point is they provide you a platform. SLP is an education program. It's a mini MBA. NASCOM provides you a platform to get mentorship. They hook you up with a lot of mentors across India, angel networks to provide funding, VC networks to get the next round of funding, and your incubation space wherever you want to sit. They have something called a startup warehouse where they host 150 plus startups in Bangalore, and it's a truly remarkable platform for you to leverage for your startup. They have partnered with SLP, and their admissions are again open. Please check their link at 10,000startups.com. So we'll run a quick video on 10,000 startups. If you have any questions, please get back to us on the video.
Yes.
One of the most interesting and exciting developments in the IT industry in recent times has been the advent of a large number of entrepreneurial, innovative companies in this space, driven by young entrepreneurs bubbling with new ideas.
The 10,000 Startups program is an early stage incubation and nurturing program that NASCOM has put together to help foster and grow the entrepreneurial ecosystem here in India.
It's one of the best decisions we ever made to apply at the 10,000 Startup program. We were desperately looking for someone to help us because we didn't know anything about how to run startups, how to grow our business and things like that.
An initiative like this, partnered by people at NASCOM as well as large enterprises like Google, Microsoft and Kotak, I think is very, very necessary so that the bright young talent of this country does a lot more than just decide to take up their next job.
We were selected for first batch of Startup Warehouse at 10,000 Startups. We've met with a lot of mentors, potential investors, fellow entrepreneurs here. Just gives you so much energy.
We've been very fortunate that in the last several months we've been able to bring some of the best startups to the accelerator program in Bangalore.
The warehouse has been really helpful in terms of both mentorship, space, customer connect, and a lot of other such activities.
Thanks to Startup Warehouse, we have got immediate start from day one. We've been here at NASCOM warehouse now for about four months. It's been a great experience for us. We got introduced to a lot of accelerators, and in fact, we joined Kairan Accelerator as part of 10,000 startups, and it helped us also to pivot into our existing product.
Some of the startup programs that have participated in the program have been able to connect with large platform players like Intel, Google, Microsoft, some of the largest retailers in the world, Walmart's, Tesco's, Target's.
A very early stage, what a startup requires is the capital and the connections, which is what essentially NASCOM has a
Vijay was
we
our
got a lot
fellow
of
last year.
exposure into talking to a lot of investors and accelerator programs. Selection from NASCOM is almost like you being funded by a fund, and it gives a lot of validation to your product concept.
The power was shifted from the investors and accelerators towards the entrepreneur.
The program has become more well-rounded. Initially, the focus was only on getting startups and creating a database of startups, but now there has been aspiring entrepreneurs as well are part of the program.
The first area that we really wanted to change was the level of awareness, the awareness around the massive set of opportunities that existed for entrepreneurs in India to build technology startups. I think by and large, we've managed to increase the level of awareness at least by 3 or 4 times.
And in this particular event, we had very high quality startups, about 6 of them that actually participated to get funding within a matter of about 15 minutes to the point of decision with the investor.
The beauty of the initiative and the collaboration has been that we were able to kind of work together with NASCOM and actually drive a lot of knowledge and also drive a lot of initiatives into the deep-hearted communities of startup communities that you find in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, because these were hitherto so much unknown to the ecosystem outside.
So we look forward to an excellent set of activities that will come up in the upcoming year. Lots more startups that we'll be able to impact.
Continue the momentum in terms of awareness building, in terms of on-the-ground events, but also actually address probably 2 or 3 constraints that are already emerging.
I'd like to see a Facebook born in India. I'd like to see a LinkedIn born in India. I'd like to see a Twitter born in India. And that's where I think we need to invest in mindset changes of these young people so that they also think that they can do the next big thing right out of here in India.
A number of policy inputs based on the funding requirements, on regulatory issues, on infrastructural support, and so on, which have emerged through this experience, would actually enable NASCOM to provide policy inputs to the government and ensure that government policies are also supportive of this entire ecosystem.
I'd like to take this opportunity to mention all our sponsors. This event is called Startup Leadership Presence Lean Startup Primer, powered by NASCOM and in association with our community partners, Startups Club, Bangalore Entrepreneurs. Then we have Headstart Network, and we have our knowledge partners, Fox Mandal. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our next speaker, who will be taking the entire session forward. Here is a person who imbibes lean startup methodology in everything he does. He has design thinking through to his core. So we are going to be doing a hands-on session. We are going to pass around sheets on which you'll be working today. Put your hands together for Rammohan.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rammohan is actually he started evangelist, and he's also the founder of the Lead Startup. And he does a lot of workshops and consulting in startup methodology. And he's been a very active mentor in various startup events, and in 50 hours, Lean Startup Machine, Startup Weekend, and those kind of things. He's been a very active participant in our sessions. In fact, he's one of the faculty for our Lean methodology session. So, over to you.
Yeah, sure.
I think we need it doesn't have the training. As either this or
Presentation.
no. We want it to run there.
Yeah. Video presentation. Yes.
No. Can you connect this on the system?
Which one? Yeah.
You have this converter.
Which one?
For HDMI to this thing. I do. But it's not used.
Take it out. It's just HDMI.
Where is this? One plug into this. Here's your speaker.
So how many of you have heard about the word lean startup? Okay, quite few, and I see that many of you have are just starting up. So I think this is one of the best methodologies to use when you are starting up with a new idea. So I'll try to explain the methodology and also see some examples of the people who have used that methodologies. And we'll try to do a small exercise using that where you can use that methodology to put your thoughts in a page. Okay? So I always want to start with a question. So why do you think most startups fail? So they say that 95% of the startups fail, right? Why do you think most startups fail?
Lack of funds.
Lack of funds. Okay, that's one of the things. Other than that, things.
Lack of management.
Lack of management. Okay. Any other things?
Being too optimistic.
Being too optimistic about their idea. And?
Willingness to change. Willingness not change.
Pardon?
Not willing to change.
Not willing to change. That's exactly one of the. Even after customer says that they don't require the product, they don't want to change that, right?
High expenditure, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Market study and research is one.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. Yes, they don't know what the customer need exactly. Without knowing what customer needs, they build a product. One of the biggest problems. So generally, this is what happens. This is a general scenario of product management or product creation by any startups. First, they get an idea. So then they'll write the business plan, big 80-page business plan. Nobody reads. Then they'll go under a stone and write and create the product for 3 to 6 months. Then they'll release it for alpha and beta, and then they'll launch. This is a general scenario, right? So the problem with this, you will have little learning about your customer or about your market when you have written your business plan. Even that, if you have done the primary research, not the secondary research from any analytics documents. But you have the most learning when you have released for alpha and beta release. Unfortunately, the biggest learning over there is that nobody wants your product. So this method works well when you know the product, when you know the problem exactly, and when you also know the solution of the
solution of how to solve that problem. So, but unfortunately, in a startup, everything is unknown. You don't know what the problem is. You think that is a problem, but you don't know whether the customer is having that problem or not. You don't know the solution of it. So you may be thinking that there is a particular solution for that, but that solution may not be what customer is seeing. You don't know the market, and one of the biggest problem is you don't know what you don't know at all. So the job of an entrepreneur is to discover and validate. So discover in the sense, so he has to discover, he has to test the problem. So generally how it happens, most of the cases we have the problem and we want to solve it and we think there is a business of it most of the times. So however, you need to think that as an assumption, and you have to test whether the problem which you are thinking is the problem at all with the customer. The nature of the problem will be different with the customer than what you are thinking. You should exactly understand the problem, and you should understand what alternatives the customer is using now. So if he is happy with the alternatives, he is never going to buy your product, right? So what alternatives using? How big is the problem? Is this the problem big enough to be solved? There are so many problems which even we have, but we don't want to pay for that, right? So is the customer willing to pay for that? Or if he has an alternative, if he is happy with the alternatives, he don't want to spend any money for the new solution. Then you will be testing your solution. The solution which you think may be the different solution what customer is expecting and what customer is willing to pay. So he'll create some experiments over here and test whether the solution which you are thinking is the correct solution. So let's see some examples. So how many of you use Mailbox on their phones? There is software called Mailbox. Anybody use that?
Is it, you are talking generally about a mailbox?
No, there is a app called Mailbox. So, and it works only for Gmail. It doesn't work for any other tools, any other mails. It only works for Gmail. So, however, the beautiful thing what the entrepreneur or the founder have found it is, everybody is using the mails as a to-do list. So he exactly solved only that problem. There are so many clients for mails, right, on iPhone or Android. But here, every application just brings the mails to our phone, and we can view and send or receive mails. That's all. But what he does is he exactly understands the problem with the users. He interviewed many users, and he observed many users, and he observed that everybody is using as a to-do list. We do the same, right? If we want to work on that particular mail, we either move to a different folder, or we make it as not read, or we create a folder called schedule and move it over there, and so that we can see afterwards. So this entrepreneur just solved that problem with that app. You can just schedule the email. So when you can just swipe it. So if we swipe on the right, it will be moved to a different folder, so that it says that this particular mail is done. We don't need to action anything about that mail. If you drag longer, it will be deleted. If you drag on the left side, it will be scheduled. So when you schedule is of two types, either it will move to a different folder, or you can schedule a particular time. So when you schedule up to a particular time, it disappears from the inbox. If you have scheduled for today evening, it reappears in your inbox in the evening. So this is the functionality of it. But he exactly understood what the problem people are facing and how to solve it. And this particular product has been sold to Dropbox for $100 million. It's not that there were any mail clients at all before. There are so many mail clients, but he understood the correct problem to be solved. So in our testing problem, we'll exactly understand what the problem is, and not be building a product for the problem which we have. We're building a product for the problem which most customers have. So in a testing solution, there is one of the example I like, which is non-technical. So an entrepreneur found out that in Cambodia, most of the people, around 45% of the population, is suffering from iron deficiency. So he wanted to create a solution for it. So the simplest solution is to sell iron pills. So however, that solution didn't work because the people are so poor that they couldn't buy iron pills. So the next best solution is to cook your food in cast iron vessels. so that when you are cooking, that iron will be absorbed into your food and goes into your diet. So even that solution didn't work because the people are so poor that they are unable to buy iron vessels, and they are using aluminum vessels because they are cheap and also light to use. Then the next solution he tried is he gave a iron bar to put into the diets. When they are cooking, they should just put that iron bar into the food so that it will be absorbed into the food and go into the diet. People, so though they are so poor, they didn't want to use that iron bar because it looks so crude, and they didn't like to put into the food. Then the founder again researched more about their culture, and he found that in their culture, the fish is they believe fish as a lucky thing. So he just designed that iron bar in the shape of fish, and everybody was using it. And that's the thing you need to understand that test solution. What solution is that one which customers are happy to pay, which customers accept. So after that, it seems that most of the iron deficiency has been reduced in the country. So we have to test with various solutions and find out what that particular solution is to where the customer is ready to accept. So once you discover, at this stage, at the discovery stage, you somewhat call it as problem solution fit. You say that you know the exactly problem. You also found the exact solution which will be a fit to that problem. We will have problem solution fit. But in Lean Startup book, he calls that as value hypothesis. So are you creating a value for your customer? So once you discover that you have a problem solution fit, then the next big thing is to find out the repeatable sales model for yourself. So there can be different channels, there can be different ways to acquire customers, but what is that particular thing which works for you, for your revenue? So many people will be using Dropbox over here, right? So it seems that when Dropbox started, so the cost of acquiring a customer was from $288 to $333 per user. However, the customer pays $99, even though if they acquire, the customer pays $99 per year as a subscription. For $99 one, they are using $333 to acquire a customer. So you see, so it's like the customer should be there at least for 3 years for at least to break even. So if they would have continued with that model, they wouldn't have become a big and great company. So after that, they pivoted to a new sales model, which is a dual incentive system, and that is the thing they still use. Dual incentive system in the sense, if I refer you, you get the free space, I get the free space. Both of the people get the free space. This is a dual incentive, and these are the people who have started it, and they are still continuing that. Once they have started that, they acquired 60 million users in 3 months. So what is that repeatable sales model for you, by which you will be profitable? So however beautiful the product may be, if you don't have a repeatable sales model and the sales model which works for you, you're never going to sell to the right people and go to the right people, right? So here you will test your value hypothesis here, and there you will test your growth hypothesis. Is there that repeatable sales model which you can identify and grow? So what is that sales model? So here also I'll create various experiments to test each of this. So once after validation, if you like Dropbox, they have started paid acquiring customers. If that doesn't work, they will again go back and come up with new ideas. They'll pivot for a new idea. So this is the picture of Lean Startup. So that is waterfall model. This is Lean Startup model. So if you will not build a product, you will build an MVP, minimum viable product. We'll see what it is. So you build a minimum viable product, you will learn from it, you will measure it, if it is worked or not, and you will learn from it, and then again pivot to a new idea depending upon whether you have learned enough or not. So let's see what is a minimum viable product. This is the biggest word that everybody uses these days, right? Actually, there is a new series started in US called Silicon Valley. If anybody has seen. So even these US people, the first part they always name it as a pilot, right? Even this particular series in the first part has been named as minimum viable product. So it became, the word became so big. So minimum viable product is the one which you use less amount of efforts to learn most of the things from the customer, about the customer. Okay? Let's see about some of the examples. So these are various minimum viable products which you can create. And the x-axis is how many customers you will be reaching with that particular MVP, and what is the fidelity of that MVP. Okay. So, for example, on the extreme client, it's about interviews. We'll just interview customers to understand the problem or verify your solution. So you can the customer reach is very less because it can use a lot of time and energy, but the fidelity is high. Fidelity is very good.
What do you mean by fidelity?
Fidelity, how good results are, how good the data is. So let's see about the examples of an MVP. So how many of you have used AppSumo? Anybody? AppSumo. So you know Groupon, right? Groupon or Snapdeal when it started. So Groupon is daily deals for anything. So AppSumo was his idea of the entrepreneur is daily deals for software products. Anything can be delivered online. He want to sell it as a daily deal basis, daily deals model. So instead of building the whole system, he created experiments to validate his assumptions. So his assumption was that people will buy software products on daily deal basis. So what he did is, instead of building the whole website, he spent $60 on Odesk, found some developer in another country. So he just created one landing page, and also he was a great. He says that he uses this Reddit a lot. So his experiment started with, so he had, for an experiment you have to have something, right? So he identified that in Reddit many people use a product called Imgur. It's a photo sharing tool, and he want to test with that. So his experiment was, if he could sell 100 pro licenses on his site in a week, the experiment is validated and there is a value hypothesis validated, and he has some business of it. He can make a business of it. So he spent $60, used a single page Imgur as a deal, and used PayPal as a button, and he could sell 200 licenses in a week. And he validated that there is a business for it. And now it's a multi-million-dollar company. So lean startup is about mindset. It's mindset of thinking that everything is an assumption and creating experiments and validating it before doing anything else. So there is this is one more company called. There are different types of. They even gave the names for MVPs. This concierge MVP. In this, you will identify one or two customers, only serve him, learn as much as possible, and then go to the next customer. So this is a company called Food on Table. So his idea was he started in US. His idea was people can create meal plans for next 1 week on their website, and each meal has different ingredients, right? So for those ingredients, he will tell you the deals available in the nearest grocery shop. So that was his idea. So instead of creating the whole website, he went and stood in front of the grocery store. He explained about the concept. He acquired a real customer for $9 per month. He served her by sending these deals manually. He used to go to his grocery store, write down the discounts available for those things, and he used to send manually. Then he started this experiment with a couple of other people. Once he understood that there is a value, then only he went and built a website. So if it's about mindset, right? If he has a mindset that his idea is one of the greatest idea in the world, he would have built whole website. He would have connected to all grocery stores in the US, and then started. And probably it may have worked in a different way, but he wouldn't have come with this particular solution. he would have built a solution which is in his mind, which they, which he didn't talk to customers and build by himself. So, but after talking to the customers, he identified many other problems which they have and many other solutions, better solutions he can provide for them. So another type of MVP is wizard of Oz MVP or FACO backend. So you don't build a backend. People assume that this is a site and there is a backend and everything, and people use it as it is a complete solution. So their idea is unlike Google, where Google will serve you the results. So his idea is if you ask a question, people from your network or real people will answer the question. Basically, people from your group, your Facebook, LinkedIn, or any other group. That was their idea. So instead of building the whole website, they just had a landing page. They recruited people from Mechanical Turk. There is a Amazon Mechanical Turk where you can hire people to do small things, create an Excel sheet or things like that. So for 20 cents or 30 cents, people will work for those type of items. So they have recruited people from there, and those people used to answer them. And with this, they have run this experiment for a couple of months. Then they understood many things. When people are asking questions, they understood that this will work. They understood what type of questions people will ask, and also how people will ask. Because writing in English is different from searching anywhere, right? Before that. So he exactly understood the whole lens and then build the complete solution, which is automated solution. And they have sold it for Google afterwards. It's also multi-million dollar company. So there are a couple of examples which I love on other MVPs. So there is this people who wanted to build a mobile app. And their idea is mobile app for kids. Their idea is there will be a monster shown in the phone, and the people can interact with it. So if they click on something, it will move in some directions. It will click on legs, it will move, dance on different types. So what do you think the MVP can be for it? Any guesses? What do you think an MVP? How can you build an MVP for it?
One can take a real life monster and simulate with the child the situation and see and try it out.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, let's see this video how they have done.
I'm a player, so I can manage my testimony. I acknowledge again. Just ignore. Adding no prolonged good luck. It has some signature moves. And when I'm out my gun dancing, I push that button. And it causes some weird stuff. That's unique. Cool. Sonic. Come on, Sonic. Wow.
What do you think? Anybody has imagined this? So once you showed that video, you can easily show that to your customer and get a feedback, right? How it was. And this is another example I like how they have saved.
So I'm going to talk about a specific technique that my startup has used to conduct really realistic, really effective user tests of our ideas. So about a year ago, we had an idea for a social purchase sharing app where you would stream out what you're buying to your friends and they would share back with you what they were buying. It was going to be great, and it was going to be the social networking take on product reviews. And being a lean startup, we mocked it up, static prototypes, we got it in front of a lot of people, and they said, I'm not going to use it, but I can see how other people might use it. And then we heard that again and again, and we said, well, why wouldn't you use it? And they said, because I don't know which of my friends would actually use this. And it made sense. It's a social application, and if they don't see the real faces of their friends that they can emotionally connect with, they can't actually grok what it's going to be about. So I said, all right, we need to make this a more realistic test than what we've done. And we drilled down on the most important interaction on the site, which is when someone does a purchase and shares it on Facebook and it appears in their friend's newsfeed. And we're interested, would people actually click? Would they care? So we thought about, how can we make this realistic? Do we have to build the whole thing and build this pretty serious sized app to do this, or can we fake it really well? We decided to try to fake it, and the technique we used was a Grease Monkey script. So if you're not familiar with Grease Monkey, it's just a simple little JavaScript that can change the way a website appears. So here's an Amazon product page. After I install Grease Monkey, it now pops up every time I go there, a little yellow box that shows competitors' prices. So it's specific to one page and it alters that page. So I went on rentacoder.com, described what I wanted. I found a guy in the Philippines who was willing to build our script for $40. We sent our $40 across the ocean. And a few days later, sure enough, back came the script. And it's pretty simple. There's the whole thing right there. You just drag that into Chrome or to Firefox, and it wakes up every time it gets on its target page. So every time we went to Facebook, it would wake up and it would run itself. So the next thing we do is our standard procedure. We post an ad on Craigslist, say we're running a social media focus group. We bring people in. So what's your favorite social media site? And invariably they'd say Facebook. I'd say, great, why don't you log into Facebook? That's a great idea. And up would pop their newsfeed, and they're feeling totally in control. It seems very realistic. Their newsfeed pops up, and the Grease Monkey script runs, and it inserts fake content into their feed, and it's using their real friends' names and faces. So it's pixel perfect real. If we built the whole thing, it wouldn't have looked any different than that. And so we sat back and said, well, are they going to notice this content that our app would normally insert into their feed? And sure enough, no prompting, they were like, wait a minute, my friend Michelle bought a Lady Gaga album, and my friend Charlie bought, an iPad, and they noticed, and they reacted very strongly. Hated it. This is how Facebook is going to hell. It used to be about friends, and now it's about commercial stuff. I remember back in the day, we would share poetry, and now I hate these ads. And we did it 50 times, and there were 3 people who liked it. So it was a very different reaction than when we did the initial prototypes. And it really wasn't that hard to do. It's a $40 script. So that's my main point. Don't think that you just have to do it with paper. You can do something better. So one thing to explain about Grease Monkey, it only works on the computer that you're testing on. So it's good for one-on-one. We couldn't really change Facebook for the whole world. Just want to clear that up. But it can work with any page. So here's another example of how we use it. You can hack Google to insert a link. So I'll bring people in and say, we're testing some stuff. Why don't you Google term such and such and just click on the first link. And we can stick the link to our fake landing page in there, but they think it's real because Google's blessed it and it's, looks legit. So the $2 million. When we did this, we had 2 competitors who each raised about $10 million each from the best firms out there. And they started building this thing. They went all out. Major features, incredible screencasts, everything. No expense was spared. And we said, wow, our testing showed that people don't actually want to use this, but they are going gangbusters. Like what were we missing? Maybe they misread the results. And after about 9 months of them building it, this was in February, one of the CEOs came out and said, you know what, the whole thing was a mistake. And coincidentally, on Thursday, the other CEO said the same thing. It just was in TechCrunch on Thursday night. I was like, we're going to update the slides. So while they were doing that, we were pivoting onto one idea and then another, and the happy ending is that we finally found something using the same techniques that really clicked. That's a bigger, better idea than the first one. And that's what we're building now. So if you're an engineer and you want to talk,
what it is, it's more about lean startup, more about process and everything else. What I believe is about the mindset. The mindset of thinking that everything is an assumption and everything can be tested. So the simple, this is the big one, that with $40, you could test so many things. So you could say, even the money goes away, it's okay. But if the time goes, we'll never get the time again. It's not about money. Money we can earn again, but we will never earn the time which we save and time which we spend. So it's about a mindset. So don't go on building the process. Understand define the problem from the customer point of view, not from the point of ourselves. Identify the correct customer segment. Identify the correct problem which he is facing, and identify the correct solution which customer is ready to pay. Identify the repeatable sales model. Experiment everything, even the solution, even the marketing strategies or the sales strategies, even that experiment with everything, measure everything. Everything should be measurable. So to summarize the process, so you have an idea. We'll document your idea. We'll do an exercise following this whole process now. So generally in our workshops we'll do a business model canvas, but we'll do a smaller version of it. So you document our idea. We'll identify the riskiest assumption from it. So riskiest assumption is the assumption which if it fails, you don't have a business at all. Okay? So for example, we were doing a workshop for HP. So one of their that's not a new idea. It's a new customer segment which they wanted to try. So one of the customer segment, they identified two customer segments for which they wanted to market more. One is teachers training institutes, and another is preschools. Okay, so for example, and they identified that preschools market size is 70% and teachers training is 30%. So in this, what would you think is the risk assumption? So you may be thinking since preschools are 70%, maybe that is the risk assumption. However, the number of pages which they print are printed more by teachers training issues than preschools. So the market size now is teachers training issues is 70% and this is 30%. So your risk assumption is teachers training issues. You will first test with them. If that fails, you don't do the business at all because 30% you can't do anything. So identify what is that risk assumption which if it fails, you don't have a business at all. So from the risk assumption, you create a hypothesis which can be tested. Hypothesis is a testable one. For example, I get always this question: what is the difference between an assumption and a hypothesis? So let's say, for example, Bangalore we have this metro, right? So by building metros, we will reduce traffic and pollution. Maybe we call it an assumption, okay? So because that cannot be tested, how did it reduce the pollution and traffic? So hypothesis is before metro, if I'm traveling from Koramangala to here in 15 minutes, and now after metro, if I'm traveling in 5 minutes, then it's validated, right? So that can be tested. The traveling time between 2 points can be tested. So that would be the hypothesis. Assumption is the bigger part. So hypothesis is the one which can be tested. You will hypothesis create an experiment to test those hypotheses, and depending upon the results of the hypothesis, you will pivot or continue with the same idea. Noted? Any questions? After this, we'll do exercise. Until now, any questions?
What if there are multiple risk case assumptions?
So there are risk case assumptions, but in n number of risk case assumptions, there is one risk case assumption, right? One is always riskier than other.
Okay, but if there are three things because of which business are doing,
then we will test in those three things what is the biggest risk.
Okay, the first.
Yeah. Then I will test the next one. So if three are equal and if you can run experiment parallelly, it's okay.
Okay, Ram, so I have a question. Me and Shreyas tested this out. When you have, say, three risk-based assumptions, if one experiment fails, I mean, if one hypothesis fails, your business doesn't work. Second fails, your business doesn't work. Third fails, your business doesn't work. So essentially, when you're building experiments on testing these hypotheses, you're not generating any revenue. So yeah, so the problem we faced was we kept on testing and experimenting.
It depends upon which stage you are. So we talked about discovery and validation, right? In discovery, we discover whether problem and solution fit is there or not. If you are in that stage, obviously you don't have a revenue. At the stage, we were only discovering what exact problem is, and also discovering what exact solution fits that problem. But in the next stage, validation is to find the repeatable sales model. Even at that time, we will have less revenue, but not much revenue. So even in that stage, you need to create experiments to validate those sales cycles. For example, Dropbox example which I have given, they have experimented with one of the models which they think would run. That didn't work. They closed it and they have run the dual incentive system.
Okay. I have a quick question talking about Dropbox. Their product didn't change.
Yeah, of
They
course.
promoted it to
Yes.
the people actually.
Yeah, that's what I've told you two stages, right? Discovery and validation. Yeah,
So
I was talking that
about
example.
Dropbox itself.
No, about
They had
Dropbox.
confidence on the product. So what kind of analysis or study does a person do to be so sure on the product? And then again is the marketing. So your riskiest assumption would be both the product and the market.
Yeah, that's why I told you two stages, right? The first stage is discovery about problem and solution. At that stage, we'll run all the experiments to identify the correct problem and the correct solution also. Even before Dropbox, there were many cloud sharing tools, but there was nothing as easy as Dropbox. So this creating a folder in your website and just dragging into the folder, there was nothing like that. That's the solution which he validated that it works. And he didn't just do it by himself. Even before creating the product, he created a small video. Not he didn't even complete half the product. Even before the product, he created a small video of dragging a file from one folder to other, and how it goes to the cloud and all those things. And even building the product, he got millions of email IDs who said that they will use the product. So he validated in that way about the solution. An example which I have given is in validation stage to find the repeatable sales model.
Okay, Ram, one quick question.
So there was one more example I didn't give this. I think it's Food Cart. It's a Chennai company. So their website is a e-commerce site for new designers to showcase their products and also sell. And they had 1 million visits per month. And their margins was 25%. However, in the 25%, around 2.5 to 3% was going to credit card charges. Around 10 to 15% was going to promotions whenever they do marketing promotions and everything. And again, another 10 to 15% was going on operational costs. So what happens? They are either selling on the same price or sometimes less the price. So when the operational cost and everything is so much, it's obvious that they have the cost of acquiring customers and everything is more, right? So now it's closed. They closed the company, even though they had 1 million users. It's not only the good product you create; it's about the good sales cycle you create.
So Ram, the question was, sometimes you cannot pivot until you have tried it. Like, you can't just do it based on experiment. So I'll give you an example. We run a training program for mobile development, Android in specific. So when we were doing the development, I mean, we never used to get a lot of students. We used to get like say 5, 6, 1 or 2 and stuff like that. We used to run a lot of experiments. Go to colleges, go to offices and figure out do people require Android training, because Android is new. And all the office professionals wouldn't have learned it. So there's a definite problem. They need to update their education. And everyone said, yeah, we need to learn this. We really love it. Android is very exciting. Let's do it. But we weren't seeing the results. So we started anyway. We started it full on, and we publicized this, and we said we started a live course. And then later we realized that there were companies interested who wanted to take part of our workshops. Like, say there's a company called Apigee, which is just interested in the web services part of it, and they wanted to take that. And there was another company which is interested in some other module, they wanted to take that. So that was a different module, different revenue. We could not have realized through experiments at all. I mean, no matter however we test, we cannot figure out things like that,
That's what the mindset I told you, right? Sit and think what experiment you create, you can create. I'll show you 2 examples. Nobody could, I couldn't think that we can create an experiment like that. I didn't know about Grease Monkey. I didn't know that you can manipulate in one system. You can manipulate the even Facebook and Google's. So think and check what experiments you can run. Even it can be just interviews. You have asked the wrong question. Then when you ask somebody that, do you need Android course? Anybody say yes.
No. We had an interview script properly.
What they will lose when they say yes, I need Android course. Even I say, if you ask that,
So I asked
I
them
want to learn.
I asked them mobile numbers and email addresses for validation. Not everyone gives mobile numbers to strangers.
In our workshops, it's very clear that people will give their mobiles and email address like anything. Because if it is an email, then they can just click the spam button. If it is the phone, they can just block it or they don't receive. They need not even receive. They don't see the name. So everybody whoever goes to interviews in our workshops, they get lots of emails and phone numbers. We said that that's not a validation at all. And what they say and how they behave is totally different again. So depending upon your product, either you have to measure what they behave also, how they behave also. If 100 people says they'll do, I think only 5% will really buy it. Because while asking, what does he lose by saying yes? He want to have a good terms with you even afterwards. If he say no, you are gone, right? Either interview questions, anything can be experimented.
How to find the early adopters, because we cannot experiment with everyone.
Yeah. So
we need to experiment with the right set of people.
Yeah, that's another big class. So it's about it's not about creating a good hypothesis or good. Every step is actually very important. So identifying the correct risk assumption is important, and for that creating a good experiment is important, and also creating that experiment with the good people is very important. Identifying those customers. So we have a definition of early adopter, but it's the job. I cannot tell who early adopters are for your products, because you know more about your product, right? But the general definition of early adopter is the person who has a problem and who was looking for the solution, and he also tried to get a solution built by himself. Is an early adopter. See, I'll give you one more example which I have run probably that will help. So, 1.5 years, I had a hypothesis that people are finding it difficult to find a co-founder, and I heard it with my friends also, and in many meetups also. I found co-founder. Many people said that finding a co-founder is very difficult, and there is no platform for it, and all those things. So first instead of building the product, what I did is first I went into Facebook group. I think Bangalore Entrepreneurs is one of the biggest group, and I asked over there if anybody has faced. No, I didn't ask that. How did they find the co-founder, and was it difficult? I asked that question. A couple of people replied that it was really difficult, and they are still looking. They can get a co-founder. Then my solution hypothesis was an event on speed dating basis, a speed dating model. So people will sit business. It will be equivalent of business and technical people. So business people will sit on one chair, and technical people will move from one chair to another, and they'll talk for 5 minutes, only 5 minutes, just to understand what each want. And that was the model which I planned of doing it. Then I just created a landing page. I think I spent 250 rupees for the domain name and a free WordPress template. Create a landing page, clearly explaining that what it is, what is startup speed dating is, and in 3 words. And again in the same Facebook comment section, I put there what if they wanted to attend this event, just give their email IDs. My hypothesis was if I get 100 email IDs in in a week, I'll do the event. Then in a half a day or 1 day, nobody has registered. Then what I did, I written a blog post explaining them why network events won't work and how speed dating works. This is even people think this as a networking event. Any meetup, they think as a networking event, right? Or there are networking events also. I was explaining that why network events won't work to find a co-founder and how speed dating works. Then I again put that in the same Facebook and also in some LinkedIn groups. So because I identified that, see, my earlier approach probably are entrepreneurs, right? Entrepreneurs or who are facing the problem. First, I asked the question, and I posted that only in that particular comment section. I didn't post in whole of the group. And also there is a co-founder group in LinkedIn. I posted only in there. I didn't post anything. I think even that blog post is still over there. If you search for why network events won't work and how speed dating was, even I think even you can find that blog post still. So I posted there, and in 3 days I got 135 emails. So then my next that problem hypothesis was validated. Next was solution hypothesis. Then I have invited people to apply, and then I'll be inviting them only the selected people because my solution hypothesis was 50% business people and 50% technical people. So I think around 35 40 people applied. I invited, sorry, 45 50 people applied. I invited 22 people, I think. Same 11 people technical and 11 people business people. So the event was fixed. We did it in Java. So they came, and I have learned many things over there. The first main thing I have learned is everybody wanted to see the profile of others before coming to the event, so that they'll not waste the time. And second thing is, even it is a speed dating format, that everybody get 5 minutes. He has to meet 11 people, so it take around 1.5 hour, 1.5 hour again. So at that time, what I understood is this is not the solution. The solution can be either online and offline one, but only this it will not work, or it will not scale. Then I stopped over there. So my uh, discovery is done. Problem solution fit was not perfect. That's why I stopped it over there. So you have to identify the early adopters, co-founder. I found that this Facebook groups of specific LinkedIn group. I think I got more email addresses from that LinkedIn group. So that LinkedIn group is about finding a co-founder. So people, if anybody wants a co-founder, they just write a comment over there about their idea and comment. That is a perfect thing, right? So search, we have to search for it. We have to define first, initially define who our early adopters may be and where we will find them. Then we should market them over there.
Just a thought on your idea. Is it possible that after seeing the other people's profile, they could have ranked that I would prefer to meet them in this order, and then only met the top 4 or 5 rather than meeting everybody?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Solution hypothesis.
Right.
So my solution hypothesis, I worked only one thing, and I didn't want to continue after that. I would have done many other solution hypotheses, run the experiments like what you have told. If that worked, then I would have continued, or then if that doesn't work, may have go to a different solution. That's right. So even the example which I have given about the Cambodia one, he created 4 different solutions, and at last 5th solution he could solve that. 5th solution is how much people accepted. Even the previous 4 solutions were the correct solutions, but the customers didn't accept that. Customers don't want to pay for that.
How will you come up with the
No, I'll continue what to do, then they'll come and add to do.
So actually market research.
Primary market research, not secondary market
Yes.
research. Secondary market research, just get the Gartner things and all those things, will not gain any knowledge from it. Private, you have to talk to customers, you have to watch the behavior of the customer.
how do you come up with that number, the 100 emails?
Because I wanted to invite around 25 to 30 people, not more than that. It should be, so for me to learn, it should be limited and focused group. So 10 people technical, 10 people business people. I assume that I'll learn from that. If I would have called 100 people, most of my time will go on organizing the event. I couldn't learn anything. I couldn't learn that people. I couldn't talk to individual and identify that they need to talk to others because need to see the profiles of others to come and all of their frustration of talking to all 10 people and having a 1 hour, 1.5 hours spent and all those things. So I couldn't learn from though if I called 100 people.
Just one question. How did you figure out that the 25 people you called were actually focused and really looking for
They have to apply first.
Right.
They have to apply, they have to say what their startup is and what he is looking for, if he is a hacker or hustler or designer, and who is looking for and why.
Because I recently come across one of the similar things. So people do a plan. There was an online stuff also. You have your own profile. Everything is there. So usually, a guy who is actually an entrepreneur will have these kind of things listed and he will send it out to you, just to see if you can, if it is.
No, I have seen. So in my research, I have seen all those things. But I also read why it didn't work, and I also spoke to people. I asked them, they are already there. Why didn't it work? There was one of the thing they were saying is, I asked for something, they send the profile of something else. That's the problem they have to. That's why I have curated it like anything. So they have to apply. There are 4 or 7 questions. They have to answer it perfectly. So those 50 people have applied. I only called 20 people because those are the people who really fill in all the things and also gave the good explanation of their startup and what they are looking for. So if the control group is not good, then the data which we get will not be perfect. So even that's why the experiment should be very, very clear. And I'll show you. Let us continue, and we'll talk. We'll talk even after the event. So we'll fill the form. Everybody can individually fill the form. If you have come with your partner who is with the same idea, probably you can sit. The first is your target customer. The target customer should not be anybody who is in the age of 20 to 50. It should not be like that. Specific. What specific customer you are targeting? And for that particular, the second one, what particular problem he's trying to solve? What particular problem you are solving? And the solution thing, as of now, if you want, you can fill or not, because we'll define that only after you really understand the problem, right? But everything is an assumption as of now. So customer problem, these are the main risks than anything else. Market risk, technology risk, and the problem risk. These are the biggest risks which we need to hurdle before anything else, right? So we should exactly understand the problem and who are our customers. Then from that, identify the riskiest assumption. And for that riskiest assumption, create the hypothesis. What is your hypothesis? And what experiment you are planning to design to validate the hypothesis, and how are you planning to measure it and the result. For example, there was an idea of renting toys online is an idea. Okay, example, renting toys online for kids is an idea. So for that, how will you feel? So the hypothesis is something like that. We believe that parents would rent toys for their kids over the internet on subscription model. So for that experiment, we'll talk to 15 parents, and even the customer segment is defined then. We have 15 customers where the customer segment where both the parents are working. We'll interview only them. And the measure is if at least 8 people show some interest in that, this particular hypothesis is validated. So in our research, we found out that parents don't want their kids to be played with second-hand toys. So this is invalidated. The whole business is invalidated because of this. Our risk assumption is being invalidated. So identify those things. So Dheeraj will distribute. So we will fill. Once this is done, if you want to share your sheet, we'll spend some time and try to identify the risk.
Take one, pass one. Take one, pass one, please. So while this is being passed around, we have a previous year SLP fellow. He is going to talk about his experiences with SLP. You can shoot him questions on how it helped him, how it probably didn't help him, or whatever you want. He has worked in US and he has shifted here. He started his own company. He's going to give an introduction.
Complete this and because it will be a break. It will be a different mindset. We give some 15 minutes. Let me complete this and after that continue. It will be a break. It will be disconnect, right?
Oh, you want to do this first and then give a. Okay, fine.
It will be disconnect.
Okay, so instead of so let's complete this activity and then we'll have the session with our previous year fellow.
Take 15 minutes. I'll get back in 15 minutes. So first start with this. Start with this and then the rest.
Whatever idea we have got.
Yes. Hi.
I don't think so. Yes.
So something called Connectify-me. Search for a Wi-Fi network. No, with this laptop has been. Yeah, you just want to use this live streaming that is connected to this. So if you use it, it will just show. Oh, there is no other laptop. You can use my phone. Actually, what I wanted to know is like we did this thing, the business connection. Right, so the same thing whatever it is. So we did a jQuery proof. Oh, okay. So I just wanted to have a look at it. Oh, yes. So anyway, after this, probably. I'll wait for you. Sure. So yeah, I was just calling Rajan. I think Rajan is not in. So he's in your. Yeah, so I did both in Canvas as well as for HTML. So I wanted for my personal use. So it is so wanted to check like because anyway you like do one rather than networking.
Is there, but there are so many.
This is like just the lean way, whatever.
No, there are so many sites. So is there any differentiation or you are you planning to give it free? Or,
it's free. It's not paid. It's free. So I mean, you just have done it. You can save it as a local PDF. I just wanted to have a feedback on your thought, I'll let you know. Yeah, you keep doing the session everywhere. So, yeah.
Share your ideas. Yeah. If you want to, if you don't want to share your idea.
Not everything. This is probably something I wouldn't have even done.
You haven't done, but so on the other side, on the first state, the side, you feel it, everything is alive. You think that it is there, but it is an assumption. But you have to identify the riskiest element from it, and then take a hypothesis from it. Then you want to test. Right. So the last one, you can't fill it.
So it's not. So it's more of a.
Yeah, you can't fill this. But until here you can fill it. So what is your hypothesis? What experiment are you planning to design to validate the hypothesis? And how will you measure it? The last one is not probably wrong.
Anyone who has not filled in the details?
So how many of you are still writing? We'll give you a couple of minutes to finish up. So we'll give an opportunity for 3 people to speak and explain what they have written. Rammohan will help you correct it if you want it to be corrected. So you'll get exactly 2 minutes and 3 people. So who wants to go? Who wants to speak? Okay, 1 person, 2. Another slot we have. Okay, so 3 people we have.
Yeah.
So can you please come over here and speak about your startup? So you'll be talking about 2 things: what your startup is about, and then you'll tell us what you have filled.
So your customers and the problem you're trying to solve, the risk assumption, and the experiment you are trying to design, and how will you measure it?
So actually, the problem which the target customers and the problem which I'm thinking of is like the people in India. like the students actually, they're not getting on-stage opportunity. On stage, they are interested into these stuff. They are interested into video blogging or stuff like that, but they are not getting that on-stage opportunity. There are channels where in YouTube, but Indians are very less participative in such kind of things. So here is an on-stage platform where they can portray their talents. Like if it's he's a stand-up comedian or he's getting
So
back.
what's the customer segment?
It's student basis, like it's for teens, and I'm not even sure because I didn't experiment it yet. So I'm thinking for opportunity wherein we can portray their talent on stage. That it's a platform wherein okay. The experiment which I was
So
thinking of.
the problem is people are unable to showcase their talent. Is the problem.
Yeah, they have the
And the
talent.
customers is teenagers in the sense around 12 years to.
Yeah, it can. It's from 12 to 20 or 22.
You need to be precise because if you're not precise, you can't validate or invalidate.
This is again
No, even
assumption I'm
assumptions,
making.
all
Yeah.
are assumptions.
No, even your assumption, you should know what your assumption is,
I
right?
have to like experiment again to check out if actually
So
what I am.
you need to know what you're experimenting on. So even your assumptions, you need to be precise. So
No, precise.
No, means assumptions we cannot be precise.
No, what he means is you should know what your assumptions are,
Okay.
right? So we
Okay,
can
let's say it's around 15, 12 to 15 like.
I'll explain your customer segmentation in a statement. What customer segmentation is. By the goal of creating customer segment, you should identify a certain number of people whose wants and needs are similar, for whom you could create a product with same cost, and who pays the same price. That's the goal of creating customer segmentation.
Yeah, around 10, the students of 10th, like after they're thinking of doing something not other than the stream which is chosen, medical or engineering, like that. They want to portray themselves. They want them to show to others, like who can this website, which with the potential platform, the others can see and recruit them also. Like they can, if he's doing well, if that guy is doing well, they can recruit him and take him to like any of the. They can give a higher platform. So experiment is like we'll go to the students and pitch this idea and tell 10 of the students that if they're talented in this stuff, they can give their own videos. They can picture their own video and they can give to us like that. So if out of 10 students, if we get some like more than 50% also, more than 50% of the students are interested in giving their videos and like we are interested in this stuff and we are not getting an opportunity. So it's a good platform. If we get that response, then our experiment is going.
How many will be talking in what is the number? What is the metrics?
Out of 10.
Out of 10?
If more than 50%, like more than 5 people. That would
and probably never ask if they have the problem.
Okay.
So probably I'll try to ask them how they are showcasing the talent now. So then you'll understand how they are doing now. If it is in the college or if it is in the YouTube, they know by themselves, right, teenagers, how they are doing now. So and what problems they have faced while doing that. So you think this is the problem, but first is you should identify whether the problem is there or not, right? So but your experiment is almost like validating the solution. Right? So first identify whether the problem which you are thinking is the correct problem or not, or what problems they are facing while showcasing the talent.
I feel like on the process we will come to know that the basic assumption is only wrong. Like we think first in the case the target audience is someone, and later
Correct.
we will realize that the target audience is someone else. Yeah, may be different. So this whole thing requires going out and speaking to the people, not like here if we sit and decide also we cannot make a right.
Exactly.
Yes. Thanks.
Next week, please.
So my customer segment is working professionals who are about 25 to 35 years of age, and they have a shortage of time in their hands all the time. I think everybody has up here has been in that age group, or they have passed that age group and have seen the reality. The problem that I want to solve is
this is the age group that ignores their health the most. So I want to provide them something where they get some triggers or some things where they can take care of their health. So things like how much exercise they need to do, whether to go for a health checkup, whether to consult a doctor based on some parameters. Now, the riskiest assumption in this, what I feel is access to reliable data. Now, will the person be providing the right kind of data for us to analyze? Like, for example, I would need their high blood pressure levels, weight, height, and all those things to check how they are physically, as well as some of their medical records, what their blood sugar is, what their some of the other things are, so that everything can be analyzed and give them a calendar. You need to work out this much every day. You need to do this, and if they have to log in, whether they were able to do it or not. So the hypothesis I would like to test is how many of the people, like if I select a sample size of say 20 people, even if we say that even 10 people can provide this data reliably 80% of the time with 75% accuracy, we can actually analyze that data and provide them some kind of feedback. Now, in reality, this data could come from online sources, but to start or to at least do the analysis, the hypothesis tested would be whether we have access to reliable data.
So, don't you think your riskiest assumption is that people really are facing the problem?
I think so, because the problem is either people are very skewed. Either they do only one kind of exercise and they think that that is helping them, like running a lot, for example. But still, you can see the runners have hypertension. Like they have their blood pressure levels are still high. How would person in his mind is thinking, I'm taking care of my health by running every day for 30 minutes, and every journal says if you're running for 20 minutes a day, you're done. But in reality, they could have.
So your customer segments are the people who are already trying to do something about it,
already trying to
not the people who are not doing anything about it.
Yeah, so this is the target level where, what I have realized, again, this is again open for discussion, that who are above 35 years of age, they are already set in their career, and they are the people who can think about their health. 25 to 35 is the age where they they ignore. So that is what my hypothesis, thought is.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Can I just format it?
Yeah.
The target customers are the people who are selling their food in fast food chains or some other eating joints. I would like to break down even further. I am targeting on their customers because the problems they are facing with their customers do not trust the quality of the food. So that's the assumption. And their customers, I'll break down who their customers are. They are working people aged around 25 to 40. They are medium to high level income group. If I have to be more specific, their income level should be in 20 to 30% tax level, whatever income tax they are having. So, and I'm not specifically including college students because they really don't care about the quality of the food. They can eat from anywhere. They actually do. The problem which these customers are trying to solve is that the people who are coming over there really do not trust their food quality. They are making sure they have a number of checks and all the food is perfect, but they are not able to put that in part that trust on their customers, and make sure that they also trust their quality, that they have taken in, proper steps for that. What the solution is proposed is an online platform for by their customers, will give them rating and give their feedback, and whether the food quality of that vendor of that place is good or not. So that's particularly targeting their particular franchisee of that particular store over there. And the riskiest assumption is, as he mentioned, that they don't give feedbacks. They don't have time. They are busy and they might not give feedback at all. And the another thing is that they will trust this online system because they first don't trust the food customers, and since they are my customers, so they won't trust even my platform which I'm making. So as of now, I've filled this much only.
Okay.
The hypothesis and the experiment I was not able to do that. So we can discuss further.
Yeah, we'll discuss further. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So you can contact me at my email ram@leanmethod.in. So and also I spend around 1 hour helping startups daily. So if you want any help, you can book my time. You can go to that bit.ly/bookram. There's a free time I spend with startups. If you need to create any business models or create experiments to validate your ideas, I'll help on that time. You can book on that time. Thanks.
And guys, this entire session was live streamed right here. So we'll share the live stream URL with you. It's all recorded, so you can review it and share it with your friends also. We have previous year SLP batchmate. Yeah, we have a previous year SLP batchmate who will be sharing his experience from the last term, and you can shoot questions like, how much time did it take? Was it worth it? So feel free to ask him his questions. He'll give an introduction of himself first.
Hi guys, you want to say yourself? Right.
So can't you please come here?
Hi. So a bit about myself. Trilok, worked for a couple of years post my engineering, 3-4 years in various companies. Then I go ahead and had my first startup in India. Didn't go that well, so we were very much ahead. Like we were doing some algo trading stuff, and it was like 2008, and not many people were understanding it, so we shut down and I moved to US. So there I did my MBA. Then me and my friends we started another company. So that was a services company, and we had our office in Chennai. Went up to 250 people. So I shut it down later. I mean, I took off my stake because I wanted to move into a product company and build something. So we started a product company, ThinkApps. So we're building a couple of our products. So now I'm moved back to Bangalore like 1 year back. So when I moved back, I joined SLP as such. I have been associated with the ecosystem even before I could go, like since 2008 here. So as part of active member of OCC and other things you guys used to attend. Yeah, so with respect to SLP, I mean, it was a great experience for sure. I mean, especially if you are like a solo co-founder, it helps even more because you get to work with others with the same mindset and stage, and you get to brainstorm a lot. So we'll be having a lot of sessions. Like, I think Rammohan also took one of the sessions last time. So yeah, I mean, so you also have like a good network. So last time there was even a mentor-mentee kind of a thing where a lot of industry experts had come and they had like a one-to-one session with others and those kind of things. And even the program as such, especially if you don't have knowledge of specific things like say finance or something like that, the course is structured such that you will get the basics of all those things. So if you have done your MBA, it's going to be like MBA focused on startups, just like the same experience. You'll meet like some of the guys with similar mindset, and you'll get like good relationship with them, good network and stuff, and they'll be friends more importantly. And yeah, I mean, it's a great experience. That's all I could say. I mean, you can ask me questions. I think that will be more interactive, such that I don't know what these guys have said to you and what you guys have researched and stuff. So let's just keep the questions flowing that way.
How much focus was given on B2B sales?
So there were a couple of sessions, like especially one sales session. Like these guys were like running a consultancy in Chennai, so they did one in NPC. If you had attended. yeah, I mean, Rajendra knows over there. So it was like one of the good sessions and pretty good B2B thing. And there was another guy like Noah Bash, like he was a PL last time, like how these guys are this time, Shivram. So he had around 20 years experience and he was like leading sales at Titan and stuff. So he was just helping around people. So yeah, I mean, it's not like just you're going to learn from them, but there are a lot of guys who are like sales gurus, like, having like 10, 15 years experience, but they don't know the tech part of it or the marketing part of it or like other parts of it. So they can get that experience and stuff. So I won't like consider like B2B, it's good, or B2C, it's good, but it's good in general if you're a startup. And probably if you're not like post Series B or post Series C and like looking for an IPO kind of a thing, probably that's like you're too high of the curve. But if you're like below that, then I think it's a good platform.
Sorry, can you just repeat the last sentence?
I mean, if you're like looking at like IPO kind of a thing, like you're already too big, then you're like, this is like not something the right platform because you're way ahead of the curve. But if you're anything below that, looking like Series A or seed level or something like that, then you're at the right side.
What is the status of your startup now?
So this is my third startup. So we are like piloting with our beta customers.
Is it a software product?
Yeah, SaaS product.
Financially, how much have you got?
We just got the beta out.
In terms of your financial thing.
Which one? This company which I'm working, right?
Yeah.
So this we started like 5 months back. So I came to India and I was like building my team and other things. So this company is like only 4 months old.
But you have some 2 or 3 startups, you said.
In the past, like my last company, we had like when I quit, we had $1 million in revenue.
So you have just one product now, which is selling?
This is my new startup. I moved out of it. This is my new startup. Like I just came out of it and I started it because I wanted to enter the product business.
So this is you're marketing one app to.
This is not an app. This is a SaaS business. So we have a couple of things like a host of solutions. It's a platform which we have built. It's a cloud telephony solution which we have built, like similar to Exotel, but you get to buy virtual numbers from 50 other countries, but not in India as such. And you can forward it to 200 other countries. So we are just doing a lot of things on it. So yeah.
What are the main benefits which you gain from this course?
Okay, so it's like I don't want to like say it as a course as such, but I would like to call it as a more of a program kind of a thing. So with respect to course, since I had done my MBA and stuff, like most of the things like was not like very new to me. I knew a bit of it, but most of these things were fine-tuned with respect to the startup as such. Like for example, you do learn the business model canvas and stuff even in MBA, but the kind of discussions that happens there, and like if you're like a consultant working in Deloitte, it's like a McKinsey is going to be different than what you sit and discuss here. Like, that part is different. So it's more like not like how the curriculum is different. It's like more of how the focus is different. That's one thing I felt which was more important. And another thing is we had like a lot of sessions like where almost all the sessions like we had like external speaker coming in and stuff. So the whole thing is shared with respect to the startups perspective, what happened with them, how they scaled, and all those things. And it's not like with respect to like a big company perspective, right? So that is that's a main thing. For me, the biggest takeaway was the people I met, the amount of time I used to get to brainstorm and stuff.
Yeah, but specifically, like you have an idea, right, as a product. So I just wanted to know if there was any particular value add that kind of you implemented, in your startup, that kind of set things like perspective. Anything at all. It can be as very minimal as such. Even the idea. We spoke about the biggest takeaway.
So there are a lot of takeaways,
right?
Not networking necessarily.
I mean, people.
No. Discussing with people, brainstorming.
Okay.
Yeah. So you get to sit and brainstorm. So I used to have like 4-hour, 5-hour sessions with my fellows. So I used to just call them and we used to just go sit in a coffee shop and I used to discuss whatever I wanted to discuss. They used to come back and see. Thing is, in India, at least one thing I've seen is people are being very nice to you. You go and talk to people, everybody say good things about your startup. Nobody says like, dude, you're a fool. Right? So here people will tell you you're a fool if you're a fool, which is very important for you. I think that is like going to be very useful for you because people are going to give you honest, brutal feedback, which you don't get otherwise. Right? So that is more important for you. So that's where it was coming in. And other things like, if you're like asking for specific takeaways, obviously there are a lot of things like, with respect to, I'm not like a sales guy. So there are a couple of things which I learned from the sales class as such. So my MBA is in finance and I work with hedge funds and stuff. So I know a lot of finance and stuff. So I don't have to learn specific with respect to finance, but I knew the whole financial modeling and stuff. But That being said, I knew a couple of fellows who didn't know anything, like they were techies, getting onto the product ecosystem and stuff, and they hadn't like done any kind of financial valuation or any modeling or anything like that, right? So it was very useful for them, and I could see like a lot of value in that. And for me personally, there was this mentor-mentee program which I said, right? That was a huge benefit for me. I got connected like with very good mentor, and I got a lot of benefits out of it and stuff. And more importantly, when I came down here and the stage at which I was, we were like, how you were saying, right, conducting the lean experiments, we were in that stage. So we were conducting 3 or 4 different things. So finally, I did it for like 2 months, tried different things, and then I stick down to whatever we are doing. So I started experimenting around in, like, say, something like September, October, and I think by Jan we had decided what we have to do, and from Jan we have started building on it.
Yeah. So you actually decided your
guys, sorry to
focus.
interrupt you. This is going to be the last question. Can we are running behind you by 15 minutes. Can you catch up with him?
I'll be here, but you can just take it offline if you want.
Yeah. So this is the last question, and we have laptops and mobiles there. So please give your feedback. So after this, just take your laptop or your feedback and give your feedback.
So I'm just saying. So you were during this course, you were able to focus on a certain product idea, and then you moved on to developing that. Is that right?
So okay, so initially when I applied, we had one idea, but it was not validated yet. I thought that's a great idea, but then eventually after 15-20 days of getting in and stuff, figured out that's not a great idea. So like that, I had 3 or 4 such things. So then it just got scrapped, and then in Jan, like we hit the right thing, whatever I wanted to do. So now I'm like concentrating on that.
So you finished in March, and then you tailored your product in your this beta stage.
Yeah, we have a few early customers now working, using beta.
How many people do you have working for you?
Working for me as in my company, 8.
They're all based in
Bangalore. We have an office in San Francisco also, but it's just more of a business thing there.
Thank you for your question. Guys, we'd like to conclude the session. Thank you all for attending. We'd like to present Rammohan with a token of our appreciation. So you'll find 2 laptops and a mobile there. You'll find a laptop here. Please come here and give your feedback. It'll be a quick 2-minute thing. Thank you guys for attending. There are snacks on the roof. There's tea and stuff. Hang around. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.